A very, very good evening to all of you. I just catch up with my own. So bear with me 1 second, sorry. I have had one of those days, so you'll have to just bear with me 1 second. Okay, Waterhead Academy. For some time now, Waterhead Academy has been sorry, I'm just YouTube is trying to kick me out for some reason. Match the number. Yeah, there you go. Brilliant. For some time now, let's start again. A very, very good evening. Monday the 16th of January. Those of you joined me yesterday for Mark Hince's interview will understand and appreciate why I did not want to draw other issues into the transmission yesterday. I think he deserved the time to articulate all the issues and aspirations he has for his own community and why he stepped forward to stand for Shaw and Crompton and has built a team around him. So I didn't want to take away from that. So yesterday's transmission was solely devoted to Mark and his team. And for those of you who've been in touch with me since, a few of you have, there's an open door policy. I won't entertain racists. I'm clear on that. I think I've been clear on that from the outset. But I'm more than happy to have a conversation and provide a platform and an interaction with the other parties, even the Labour Party, even politicians involved in the Labour Party, the Lib Dems, the Failsworth Independents, the Royton Independents, the Caldas Independents, the St Mary's Independents, all of them, any of them. I'm happy to share this platform because I think it's very clear by now what we do here through the Recusant 9 transmissions and our broadcasts aren't done anywhere else in this town. So by all means, those of you of other parties, get in touch. We'll create a space and we'll go for it. The second thing I'd like to say is these transmissions are only possible with your support. The least you can do is like these posts. There's 67 of you watching so far. So the least you can do is click on the like on your YouTube page. It doesn't cost you anything. If you can, please consider buying me a coffee. That's how these transmissions continue the best they can. And for those who are able to and can commit, please take out a monthly subscription from £3. The £1 ones are still up there, but it's up to you. You all value this work. You all value these broadcasts, and I think the least you can do is support them in your own way, and the least of that support is just pressing the like button on these transmissions and sharing the links when they come up on Facebook. I don't think that's too much to ask of anyone. Okay, moving on. Waterhead Academy. I have been aware of a number of issues at Waterhead Academy now since before Christmas. What had happened was Ofsted had been in and Waterhead Academy had got inadequate. Across the board, they'd gotten inadequate. And the trustees, management committee, academy trust, whatever you want to call them, pulled a fast one. And what they did was they appealed to Ofsted saying, no, this judgment is wrong. We don't believe we should be that. And that this way they kept it hidden from parents, they kept it hidden from the wider community, but the council knew. The council would have known. Okay? So Councillor Mushtaq, I think, is the education lead. Councillor Mushtaq and his associates at Oldham Council would have known. Okay? So, inadequate across the board, appeal to buy themselves some time, and during that period, they get rid of the principal. And they appoint another principal. They are now on the 6th principal in just over 10 years, maybe a little bit longer. So one every 2 years, a principal. And this academy, this school, and I say this with someone who's tried his best and failed with schools. This academy is a disgrace. Multi-million-pound, state-of-the-art, purpose-built. But it was built for the wrong reasons, and it attempted to focus on other issues other than education. And it has been bouncing off the bottom since it started. You'll remember Alan Francis and the college first ran it and had to give it up because they'd made a dog's dinner of it. And then it went to an academy trust of some form, the councillor involved, and it's just failed. It's just ongoing failure. So, first of all, let's bring up what brought this school to fruition. Let's bring that up. This is from The Guardian, you can see. And the article goes back to 2015. Thursday, the 5th of November, 2015. You can see state-of-the-art Waterhead Academy. It's a brilliant title. The long read, apparently. The integrated school that could teach a divided town to live together. Remember, Breeze Hill was closed down and Count Hill School was closed down, and the land at Count Hill School was sold by the council for an income. The same as the land at St. Augustine School and across the board. Waterhead Academy in Oldham was formed by the merger of Asian majority Breeze Hill School and white majority Count Hill School. And then they go on. Yeah. They give a nice little case study of how these children, get on together, who otherwise wouldn't. Among the psychologists who study bigotry and ethnic conflict, this optimistic theory is known as contact hypothesis. It was introduced by the Harvard psychologist Gordon W. The basic principle is if you put people from different backgrounds together in the same place, then it'd be okay. No, Gary Grange had nothing to do with it. I'll get to that later. And you can see, he goes on about this contact theory, blah, blah, blah. And they reckon the thinking in the council, okay? The thinking in the council was that by knocking down Breeze Hill, knocking down Count Hill, bringing the children together, whether they wanted it or not, integration would take place, community cohesion would occur, and everything would be okay. Using this oversimplified interpretation of contact theory, it's bullshit. As a national expert on this, and I am a national expert on this, it's bullshit. It's the equivalent of some numpty turning up to a restaurant, looking at a chef cooking, and thinking he can go home and become a master chef himself just by observing someone else doing it. That's the arrogance and naivety of the council's policy officers when they created this. And you're right with this, Pauline, enforced integration, but you're wrong because the word integration is wrong, the way you're using it. The word integration is wrong. It's social engineering. It's social engineering. And this article goes on into a social history sort of analysis. The new arrivals settled in areas such as Glodick, you know, going back to the 1960s, blah, 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 and how the growing, you know, a girl runs away from the burning Greenhill Mill School. I don't know where Greenhill Mill School is, by the way. Petrol bombed by rioters in Oldham, May 2021. And the message is simple. The message in this article is simple. The Asians were under attack. Look, you can see a girl in a headscarf running away. Yeah. Nothing about what triggered the riots in 2021, but, you know. And it goes on about the reports that came out. That debate aside, even if towns such as Oldham are segregated, some might say, so what? Yes, indeed, some may indeed say, so what? Before Breezehill and Counthill were closed in 2010, there was a consultation period. Bullshit, lie. They'd already decided what they were doing. The proposal to create one large school of 1,400 pupils had caused consternation. Some of that was understandable resistance to change, but some Asian parents and teachers from Breezehill were nervous that their kids would be subject to racist abuse. Local whites in the lower middle class neighbourhood of Waterhead, see, they're using this lower middle class. I'm not sure what is working class and what is lower middle class, or how the Guardian have determined these social indicators. Local whites in the lower middle class neighbourhood of Waterhead demonstrated against the merger. They said they were worried about the disruption that a big school would cause in the area. I doubt it had anything to do with them being white people. I think, you know. There was also an element of dog whistle politics. One senior figure in Oldham's educational establishment told me that many white parents in the area would rather send their kids to a failing monocultural school than a thriving mixed one. So you white racists, that's what this is, you white racists. A teacher at Waterhead sheepishly admitted that his mother and brother had joined the placard-waving protesters. His brother, who was caught up in the 2001 riots, is a BNP sympathiser. There was also a separate political strain of opposition to Waterhead. Some of the placards said no to academies. Okay, so you can see what's going on. When Miles Houston heard about Waterhead, he was eager to see how it went. A perfect test of his contact hypotheses. We are an experiment. Indeed, Waterhead is what Houston calls a natural experiment. One that, along with his two postdoctoral researchers, Katerina Smith and Anantia Al-Ramaya, were granted access to study. So it goes on. And apparently these two kids love the school, and the headline is the integrated school that could teach a divided town to live together. What utter nonsense. What utter nonsense, because this is a failing school, a catastrophically failing school that has failed a generation of children, and there is not a single word from any of the Labour Party councillors who run the town as to this decade-long failure at this school. Failing your children. Failing your children. Maybe Raja Mir isn't involved in it, so, you know, they don't need to say anything. Decade-long failure. There is not a single word from the three Waterhead councillors, of one which is Councillor Ross Birch, who spends her time promoting Neil Wilby whilst ignoring the impact this school is having on the children of families in her own ward. And of course, there's nothing from the town's MPs, either Jim McMahon or Debbie Abrahams, whose constituency this school is in. So, let's move on to have a look at the Ofsted report. Click on Ofsted. It's all hidden. Ofsted resources. Yes, Denise, Counthill was a great school. I remember the first day I went to Counthill to do some work there, and the grand front and the playground and the aspect, it was a beautiful school. Ofsted October 2022. So you can see the Ofsted inspection was done in October 2022 and they hid it. Link to the October 2022 report. Inspection of Waterhead Academy. Why is this not in the newspapers? Oldham Times. Why is this not in the Oldham Times? Why is this not in the Oldham Times? There you go. I'll just move my laptop down. The quality of education, inadequate. Behavior and attitudes, inadequate. Personal development, and my understanding is this is the one they've managed to raise from inadequate to requires improvement. And the leadership and management, inadequate. And in 2019, when this school was last inspected, it was requires improvement, which means it is not of the standard it needs to be. 1,400 children, remember. 1,400 children are receiving an inadequate education and have been for a number of years, for a decade. Requires improvement, inadequate, yo-yoing around every year, and not a word from Debbie Abrahams, a local MP, and not a single word. She must be too busy scoffing her mouth with her meat pies and her sausage rolls. I can't think of any other reason. You should invite her for the school dinners, perhaps. So this is what they said, and it's not a long report, so I'll start with the opening sentence. Pupils are not getting a good deal at Waterhead Academy. While many pupils behave well in lessons, the poor behaviour of a significant number of pupils is accepted as the norm by staff and leaders. For example, pupils' behaviour on corridors outside at break times and at lunchtime is unruly. Pupils' learning is often disrupted because of noisy corridors and pupils' lateness to lessons. Staff and pupils lack any confidence in leaders' abilities to improve pupils' behaviour. Just that last sentence. Staff and pupils lack any confidence in leaders' ability to improve pupils' behaviour. Pupils are sometimes exposed to foul and abusive language, as well as name-calling. Occasionally, pupils also experience homophobic and racist language. Remember the Guardian article? This school is going to teach us all to live together harmoniously. Some pupils told inspectors that they have come to accept that this type of behaviour is their daily experience of school life. Their daily experience of school life is to be called homophobic and racist names at Waterhead Academy. Many pupils, many in a trajectory is one short of most. So many means majority. So it's many, most, all. Yeah. So many pupils, so many would be somewhere between 50 and say 75%, said they are fed up with the situation. Whilst overall pupils said that they feel safe, However, many stated that they are unhappy at school. Unhappy. Going every day to school unhappy. A few people said that bullying is commonplace. They explained that when incidents are reported, staff attempt to deal with them. However, staff's efforts are not always as successful as they could be. Many pupils truant from lessons or choose to enter classrooms late. That's between 50 and 75% is what is traditionally meant by many. Many pupils truant from lessons or choose to enter classrooms late. Of course they do. They're unhappy. They're going to get called homophobic names or racist language, and if they say anything to the teachers won't do anything about it. What? I wouldn't be there, would any of you? This happens frequently. Frequently means more than many, yeah? Frequently. Because leaders and staff do not do enough to challenge pupils when they choose to truant from lessons. If staff do challenge pupils about their absence from lessons, they are either ignored or subjected to pupils' disrespectful comments. What that means is the teachers have lost all control. That's what that sentence means. At Waterhead Academy, the teachers have lost all control. Because if staff do challenge pupils about their absence from lessons, they are either ignored or subjected to pupils' disrespectful comments. They don't care. They don't care what the staff think. All control, all respect gone in that school. Where are you, Mushtaq? Where are you, Ross Birch? Come on, Ross Birch, are you having another sausage roll and a meat pie, both stuffed in your mouth at the same time, whilst using your fat, podgy fingers to type away to Neil Wilby? Where are you? Come on. In recent years, leaders have not acted quickly, so not even in like months, in recent years. So Ofsted is clearly agreeing with me over the length of time this unacceptable behaviour has continued. In recent years, if you work at Waterhead Academy, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself because you are responsible for this, and don't any one of you dare say it's above your pay grade. You should have whistleblown. You should have raised alarm bells. You should have spoken out. In recent years, leaders have not acted quickly enough to improve the quality of education that pupils receive. Leaders' expectations of what people can and should achieve are low. That means they have low expectations of working class children. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're white, you're working class, you're thick. Do as you're told. We expect you to misbehave. Go on. That's what that is. That is what Ofsted are essentially saying there. And they had to find one thing to say. Pupils are beginning, after 12 years, to benefit from the growing range of extracurricular activities available to them. Beginning. It's not benefiting, but beginning. What does the school do well, and what does it need to do better? Ofsted's words. This is their inspection report, not me. Trustees, executive leaders and school leaders. So there's 3 tiers of leadership here. Trustees, executive leaders and school leaders have overseen a decline in the quality of education that pupils receive at Waterhead Academy. Remember, they were in required improvement. They were crap already. And they've gone from crap to shit. That's what they've done. They've gone from crap to shit. But no one's going to say anything. There'll be no newspaper reports, no counsellors, because they're failing white working class kids. Pupils have been failed for far too long. Their learning is fragile and they underachieve. The curriculum is inadequate. The curriculum is inadequate. It lacks ambition for pupils. For example, leaders have not made sure that pupils in Key Stage 3 have access to the full range of national curriculum subjects. Pupils are ill-prepared for the demands of Key Stage 4. Previously, leaders' lack of aspirations has been reflected in the low proportion of pupils choosing to follow the English Baccalaureate suite of subjects. However, this number is now increasing. So children, what they're saying is children are opting out of aspirational subjects. Children are opting out. And that's the children who bother turning up to the lessons. In some subjects, leaders have not given sufficient thought to the content of the curriculum. That means lazy, useless teaching. That's what that is. That's what that is code for. Lazy, useless teachers. Waterhead Academy appears to be infested with lazy, useless teachers who have no respect for the working class kids or their families that go there. They have not identified the essential knowledge and concepts that pupils must learn. So there's no benchmarking. This means that teachers do not know what curriculum content to teach to pupils. They have no idea what they are teaching. As a result, pupils do not develop a secure body of subject knowledge as they progress to the school. What's the point? What's the point of going to school when this is what the teachers in that school are delivering? Oh, but the integration, look, we've got Abdul and Alice sat next to each other. Just think of the integration. Idiots, failing our children. Oldham Council once again failing our children. The delivery gets worse. The delivery of the curriculum is ineffective. In some subjects, some teachers lack sufficient subject knowledge to deliver specialist subject content with confidence. They don't even understand the subjects that they're teaching. That's what the Ofsted are saying. At Waterhead School, Waterhead Academy, some teachers don't even understand the subjects that they're teaching. In other subjects, the work that teachers give to pupils is not as demanding as it should be and fails to build on previous learning. So it's any old crap. Yeah. Too many pupils in Key Stage 3 and 4 are unnecessarily repeating what they have learnt at primary school. Pause. Too many children at Key Stage 3 and 4, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, are repeating what they've been taught at primary school. What on earth is going on? What on earth is going on? Councillor Saheed Mushtaq, this is your portfolio. Councillor Ross Birch, these are the children of your ward. Stop nibbling on samosas. Stop counting postal votes. Stop eating meat pies and get on to Waterhead Academy and ask them what on earth is going on. Their silence speaks volumes. Where are you, Councillor Ross Birch? I have a good mind to go and knock on Councillor Ross Birch's front door with a copy of this Ofsted report and my camera and ask her to comment. Roughly translated, they're not even teachers, are they, mate? They should never have been appointed. Added to this, can you add? How can you add to the fact that 16-year-olds are being taught what they learnt in primary school? But the Ofsted inspector can add to this, and they do. Added to this, teachers' delivery of the curriculum is hampered by constant interruptions to lessons because of pupils' poor behaviour around the site. That means children are running up and down the corridors outside doing whatever they want. This is feral. This is a feral establishment. Kids are running riot. Ofsted are clearly saying the kids at Waterhead Academy are running riot. Teachers do not use assessment strategies to identify and remedy people's misconceptions effectively enough. I think the Ofsted inspector was being kind. I doubt teachers even know what an assessment strategy is in that school. What teachers know that pupils have missed learning. When teachers know that pupils have missed learning because of absence or truancy, they fail to address the gaps in knowledge that these people have. So they're falling behind and falling behind and falling behind more. Remember, the council is complicit in this cover-up. Oldham Council is complicit in this cover-up regarding this Ofsted inspection, this inadequate Ofsted inspection. Amanda CHADDERTON is complicit in this, as is Councillor Shahid Mushtaq, Councillor Abdul Jabbar, and that's Ross Birch. Meat pie Ross Birch. Many pupils lack the literacy and numeracy skills that they need to succeed in further education. It looks like they lack the civility and behaving like humans to succeed. As a result, pupils are not fully prepared to take their place in modern Britain. Powerful, damning statement. As a result of 5 years education at Waterhead Academy, pupils are not fully prepared to take their place in modern Britain. This is due to a legacy of low aspiration and ambition. This is great, isn't it? In response to this, leaders have recently introduced, they've had 12 years, but they've recently introduced a new initiative to support pupils' spoken communication. This is to improve pupils' literacy development. However, this approach is very new and there is currently limited evidence of impact. How new? The day before Ofsted came in, do you think someone said, shit, we need to do something? More recently, leaders have begun to identify pupils who struggle to read. Yeah. It's just nonsense, isn't it? They're just making it up. They're just making it up. Leaders have taken appropriate steps to identify pupils with special educational needs or disabilities. So the SEND staff seem okay. And pupils' personal development plans about healthy relationships. Yeah, teach them all about non-gender and all of those things. Don't teach them to behave or read or write. Teach them all that woke bollocks, but not about how to be respectful to each other and respectful to the teachers. They are developing their understanding of harmful sexual behavior. This is damning. They are developing their understanding of harmful sexual behavior. That's not, they have an understanding. They are developing their understanding. After everything that's gone on in this town, pupils at this school are developing their understanding. Remember, Waterhead Academy is one of the academies incriminated in the CSE scandal, particularly predating to Count Hill School. But worse, as well as only just developing their understanding of harmful sexual behaviours, some teachers do not deliver this aspect of the curriculum consistently well. This is disgusting, Karen. This is indeed disgusting. This hinders how deeply some pupils understand these issues. Apparently, the arrangements for safeguarding are effective. What does the school need to do to improve? There's not much left, but so I'll go through it, I think. Yeah. Trustees and executive leaders have not acted quickly enough to tackle the weaknesses in the quality of education. They lack ambition for pupils and they have not held school leaders to account. So what they are blaming is not just the head teacher in the school, but the executive leaders on top and the trustees on top of that. So the two higher tiers. And this, by the way, Oldham Council have a statutory duty when it comes to the education of our children. It doesn't matter if it's an academy, private, public, they have a statutory duty. Why are they not demanding urgent intervention? Come on, Ross Birch. Come on, Councillor Mushtaq, Amanda CHADDERTON. Where is Debbie Abrahams? If this was a school in Kashmir, I guarantee she'd have something to say. As a result, pupils, including those with special educational needs, have been let down and many underachieve. Those responsible for governance must provide more effective levels of challenge to leaders to secure swift improvements to the quality of education that pupils receive. So the trustees and executive, they are saying weak leadership, inadequate leadership. The curriculum is inadequate. It's not coherently designed, and it does not include all the essential content to enable pupils to achieve well. The curriculum is inadequate because the teachers are inadequate. Some adults do not have a high enough expectations, so that's some teachers, some leaders, of what pupils can achieve, and some teachers are lacking in subject knowledge. Damning. Teachers lacking in subject knowledge. Shameful behaviour. You can see, again, pupils unnecessarily repeat work they have completed in primary school. Oh my God. Leaders should ensure that staff have high expectations of what pupils can achieve. What is going on? What is going on? And yes, I know Riaz Ahmed and Councillor Peter Dean are both from Waterhead as well. But Ross Birch, Neil Willabooby's friend, the meat pie eater, is my focus of attention. Teachers do not routinely use assessment, so you have no idea what they're doing. You don't know if they're learning. Where is Debbie Abrahams? Debbie Abrahams is nibbling samosas in her Glodico vote. Leaders' expectations of people's behaviour are too low. Clearly. Too low, not low. Too low. Some pupils are exposed to homophobic and racist language. If this was my child in this school, I would take her out. I would tell the council, I will see you in court. Because they are putting my child at danger. If I had children at Waterhead Academy, I would be pulling them out right now, refusing to send them to school. If I had grandchildren at Waterhead Academy, I would be pulling them right out, right now, refusing to send them to school. Demanding immediate urgent action from Amanda CHADDERTON, Councillor Mushtaq, and the likes of Ross Birch, Councillors Ross Birch and her team. And at this point, it is imperative that the MP, Debbie Abrahams, issues a statement and campaigns, lobbies, advocates on behalf of her constituents. Well, honestly, and I say this with sincerity and honesty and no malice whatsoever, I would not allow my daughter to be exposed to this. I would pull her out and I would say to the school and the local authority, I will see you in court. Too many pupils truant from lessons regularly. Staff do not routinely challenge poor behaviour because they lack confidence in the policy and practice of managing behaviour. Leaders must act with urgency to ensure that staff have the confidence and expertise to tackle poor behaviour. This is damning. Leaders have not ensured that the staff have the confidence to deliver the wider personal development curriculum as effectively as they should. This means that some pupils do not understand the impact of the derogatory language that they use or why it is inappropriate. So they don't even understand why being homophobic or racist language is inappropriate. Having considered the evidence, we strongly recommend that leaders and those responsible for governance do not seek to appoint early career teachers. That's code for something else. I've not quite yet figured it out, but I will. Waterhead School, inadequate. Across the board, ignore the personal development requires improvement. I'm not having that. Inadequate across the board, hidden from you. They kept it hidden for as long as possible. And then they quietly got rid of the head teacher, which is why the latest news on the web page, and there's nothing on the web page, on the front page of the web page, as you can see. The latest headline news is an introduction to our new executive principle and active principle without even quantifying why. Without even quantifying why. And here he is. Executive principle and active principle. Look at the pair of them. The Waterhead way. What's the Waterhead way? Failing children. Is that the Waterhead way? Teaching, tolerating racists and homophobes. Hiring shit staff who don't even understand what they're meant to be teaching. Is that the Waterhead way? You pillocks. And he's an acting principle. He had the opportunity to visit the academy at the end of autumn. That means after the Ofsted inspection, when they'd already got rid of the last one. His leadership team and him have a firm commitment to deliver the very best. Well, then why is he not facing the parents? Why is Mr. J. Wilson, acting principal, not facing the parents? Why is he not calling an urgent meeting with the parents in the community to say, I am sorry this school has failed your children and this is what we are doing? No. Cover-ups. Cover up, cover up, cover up. That's all those who run this town know. Cover up, cover up, cover up, and how to fail our children. That's all they know. And the one above him, this Swami Git, executive principal message. As the executive principal, I am looking forward to working closely with our acting principal, Mr. Wilson, and getting to know our staff. Mr. Wilson and I have worked together successfully at 5 years at Waterhead Academy. Yeah. He doesn't even say the executive principal, Mr. Kash Rafiq. So Kashif Rafiq, Kash Rafiq, is going on about Waterhead Academy's journey to good. You can see it there. Journey to good. Mate, your school's fucking inadequate. And you won't even admit to it in your executive principal message. I bet he's one of Mushtaq's shiny suit wearing mates, isn't he? But it gets worse. This school is in a complete mess. In the style of Dr. Chauhan, who has to have responsibility for multiple failing medical centres, Kash looks after 3 schools. Not 1, not 2, but 3 schools. As the executive principal, I oversee 3 secondary schools. Yeah, that's exactly what he is. He's another Gerard Jones, Bowen Caffrell and Andy Burnham, treating us like crap whilst living it up elsewhere. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But let's have a look about our academy. Oh, look. Home. I'm clicking home. About our academy. Where's your board of governors? Local academy board. That's it there. Local academy board. Who are our current governors? Mr. Nick Middleton. Nick Middleton is the acting chair of governors. So he's overseen. Nick Middleton is the man who's been the chair of governors. You can see start date 22nd of 9, 2020. He's the man who's overseen this journey to inadequate. Nick Middleton should resign with immediate effect. Worse, he was appointed by the trust, which shows everything, which demonstrates the lack of understanding or appreciation of the severity of what's took place at Waterhead Academy. Mr. Gordon Leach, appointed by the trust. Mr. Darren Leon is an ex officio. James Wilson, ex officio. Tariq Rafiq. Mr. Tariq Rafiq. One of the Glodic guys is a governor. Dr. John Anker. Was John Anker not a Lib Dem councillor? And the elected by the school staff one is Mr. Amir Khan. Mr. Doug King, appointed by the trust. Elected by the school parents, Miss Martine Brown. Miss Martine Brown. Mr. Gordon Leach, you can see here, appointed by the trust, attended 0 of 4 possible meetings. Mr. Tariq Rafiq, appointed 0 of 4 possible meetings. Probably be because of all of his business interests. And Ms. Martine Brown, the parent elected one, only attended 2 of the 4 possible, and Sarah Naggs 1 of the 4 possible. Yes, John Anker wasn't he? A Lib Dem councillor. Okay. The integrated school that could teach a divided town to live together. Waterhead Academy is in special measures. This has been hidden from members of the public. The school has not made any arrangement for parents to meet with parents, to explain to parents, to apologise to parents. There's been no apology to parents. There's been no apology to children that they have failed. Councillor Ross Birch and the Waterhead pals have had nothing to say, nowhere to be seen. The MP Debbie Abrams, after such a damning report of feral children running riot in a school, regularly exposed to homophobic and racist abuse, not a word to be said. The complete failure, not the complete failures, but clearly the failures in keeping the sexual stuff around, taking care of themselves and keeping themselves safe. Ofsted have pulled them up on it. Not a word from Amanda CHADDERTON, leader of the council. This is a complete absence of leadership. Once again, this is a complete absence of leadership. They are running, they are hiding. You and everyone in this town, particularly the children who attend this school and their families, deserve better than this. Where is Councillor Shahid Mushtaq? with his educational portfolio? Where is his statement? Where are the Oldham Times? Why am I bringing this to your attention? Okay. There's something about skirts. And I'm going to be harsh, I think, with some of you. But please bear with me. I'm going to go and just I'm going to go and get a biscuit is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to come back. There's 145 of you watching. There's 48 likes. No one's bought me a coffee or a samosa or anything so far. If you find value in this work whilst I'm away for a moment, please at the very least press the like button. And if you can, financially support me, because without these transmissions, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. I'll be back in a moment. In January 2022, Waterhead Academy, the previous principal of Waterhead Academy, sent this letter out. You can see Waterhead Academy, acting principal, Mr. James Wilson. So the previous one was also an acting principal. This is a school out of control. 12th of January 2022. Dear parents, carers, consultation on our academy uniform for 2022-2023. On our journey of school improvement, we have taken the decision to review our academy uniform for September 2023. We are working to raise standards in all aspects of school life, and having the highest standards of personal appearance is central to this. Remember what Ofsted found. These kids are feral, they're doing what they want, the teachers are useless, but what they're saying is personal appearance apparently is central. So personal appearance matters most, and this is what they mean by personal. appearance. We believe that uniform creates a positive school identity and provides students with a sense of belonging, as well as identifying them as ambassadors for our academy. In addition, our uniform needs to look professional and smart, but also must be both practical and affordable. We're proposing 2 key changes to our uniform policy. So what they've said to what they've now come up with has no bearing. One has no bearing on the other. So the proposed changes has no bearing on what they've said before. Firstly, to remove the skirt from our uniform policy so that all students will be expected to wear a pair of black tailored trousers. Skinny type trousers, jeans, leggings, jeggings, cut-off trousers, or trousers with decorative zips will not be permissible. So they've banned the skirt. They want to ban the skirt and replace it with trousers and a specific type of tailored trousers. Secondly, we are proposing that all students wear plain black socks. Socks. Ready? You've seen what Ofsted have identified as the failings in this school, and they are proposing to make students wear black socks. Jordan, you've said it better than I could have, mate. Uniform must be professional and smart, but our educational infrastructure will ensure our students will never have to look professional and smart when they leave our academy. Yeah. There's irony there, isn't there? No, there's something else going on here, mate. You just need to pause, because I've had this information for some time, and I think it was Anthony who shared it with me, because there's a petition, and as a consequence of this, a petition's been launched by members of the public who are objecting to these revisions. Members of the public is wrong. Parents of students who are objecting to this. Let me try and find. Let me try and find a petition. Just give me 1 second. So the heading is of this petition: Let girls be girls. The picture they've used, and it's a woman called Alison Wright, I don't know her. The picture they've used is of an email. And this lady's reasoning for starting the petition is, I am starting this petition as a parent of 2 girls who attend Waterhead Academy, Oldham. Waterhead have recently released a newsletter stating the new proposed policy of not allowing girls to wear skirts from September 2023. I, with many others, feel that this is an inappropriate step for a school to take, given the population of young girls choosing to wear skirts. We believe every girl should have the right to wear clothes manufactured for their gender. My daughters have worn skirts throughout all their school life, as have many others, and now they are in the last few years. They want to stop that. Please sign this petition to let girls be girls. So Alison's taken the angle of a gender thing, yeah. And it's at 100 supporters. Okay. Okay. There are those who have jumped on the banning of skirts as some sort of Muslim takeover and are suggesting that. Well, you've seen that this educational trust and the governors, apart from Mr. Tariq Rafiq, who didn't attend a single meeting, are all white. So this thing around banning of skirts has not come from an Islamist place. It's not come from a place where the Muslim students have come in and said, we feel uncomfortable with the white girls wearing skirts. It's not come from the Muslim parents or feedback from that via the parent representative on the board of governors is a white person. So the Islamist stuff is complete nonsense. That is not to say that there are unintended consequences to what takes place. Where it comes from and the unintended consequences are not one and the same. And you need to understand what this is actually about. The wearing of short skirts, or skirts, the wearing of skirts. And some children, as in all schools, will wear short skirts. And I come from a very different place, having spent over 20 years working with children, and so some children in some of the most vulnerable places. And finding it uncomfortable myself as a young man when I was working in these places. But I came to understand what was taking place. And my position is really simple. Schools should be a safe place for children. And if children, particularly some girls, go on a journey of wearing skirts and maybe wearing shorter skirts than those of us from outside find comfortable, it's not for us to judge, because in the school it's a safe place. And they can reflect on themselves, they can reflect on each other, and they can go on a journey themselves to become confident. And hopefully, that's my reflections, what we want for all of our children is that what they are inside matters more than what they look like on the outside. But that's a journey all of us have been on, and some are still on. It doesn't matter if you're 12 or if you're 60 or older. But the school is a safe place for children to discover themselves. So the banning of the skirt is not a safeguarding issue. It's completely the opposite. What the banning of the skirt is, and it goes back to the CSE stuff, is a judgment by a white middle class elite towards white working class communities. No more than when the police turned up and found 14-year-old girls in cars with men 3 times their age and made derogatory comments towards the children and accused them of being responsible, and it was their fault. This negative attitude towards working class children has transferred into an educational setting, and it is being played out this way by targeting working class white girls and the wearing of skirts. And remember, we go back to the Ofsted inspection. Blue Coat recently came out as outstanding. Yes, Blue Coat came out as outstanding. Blue Coat has a uniform policy with very strict, clear guidance on the length of skirts and how high above the knee. I think it's 6 centimeters above the knee or something is the shortest they tolerate. And it's enforced. This school, Count Hill, can't even enforce the most basic things, and it's jumped on demonizing a demographic of white working class girls, and I look at this as a Muslim bloke. Can you imagine if a dress code had come in that demonizes, excludes, negatively portrays Muslim girls, what sort of an outcry there would be in this town? These are not the actions of racists. Although I do believe that it will have consequences on the demographic makeup of this school, which will lead us to another trouble and another mess. These are the actions of a fake liberal metropolitan elite that have, for as long as I can ever remember, held the white working classes in utter contempt. This is about their prejudices. This is about the prejudices of white middle class people towards white working class people. That's what's gone on here. That is not to say there aren't issues with the consequences of banning skirts. But on a list of actions this school needs to take, there is not a single person anywhere from the executive principal all the way down to the caretaker team who will come and say to any of us that the colour of your socks and whether or not girls wear a skirt or trousers has any bearing whatsoever of the challenges that this school faces. Now, for those of you who want to take this and make it into an Islamist sort of thing, shame on you. You know better by now. You know better by now. You should know automatically where to look. Who's in charge? Who's making the decisions? What are the motives for making the decisions? What is the impact? There's a whole host of things you've all been taught by now. And the reason why they're quiet is because making this into a race issue and branding us as racists whilst we talk about skirts rather than the real issues in this school deflects away so they can demonize us in the same way as they did in the CSE scandal whilst they get let off. This is a tried and tested tactic. Now, I object to the banning of skirts. I 100% object to the banning of skirts. And I also believe that the best way to educate people on social norms and self-respect is to take these young people on a journey where they are supported, where they understand, have the space to reflect and grow. I don't care that girls wear short skirts. I care that girls are being failed in this school systematically, across the board, generationally. Teachers who don't even understand what they're teaching. So all of you who are interested in this, that's what you should focus on. Now, I'm happy to now move on to a separate conversation about the banning of skirts and the fears and anxieties, legitimate fears and anxieties we all have. Well, I definitely have as well. Who's spoken out more about the Islamification of this town than me? I have genuine fears and anxieties, and I'll get onto that. But the skirts in this school, on a long list of issues with this school, don't any of you dare talk about skirts. These children are being failed and have been failed for over 10 years. They are not at fault. They are not the problem. When Waterhead Academy came together, this utopian belief that somehow the majority Pakistani Muslims from Glodic overspilled out into Brazil would successfully integrate, whatever that word means, integrate. I'm not even sure what they mean by integrate. With the white working class kids, not just from Waterhead, but from Durka way, Sholva way, because that's where Count Hill School was. They hoped that the ethnicity balance would remain consistent. You can see what it said, can this? And what has actually happened, and it's going to get worse, by the way. And I'm now just sharing what I see through my eyes. Right or wrong, this is what I'm seeing. The white parents who previously, or the families, or from the communities in those places who previously would send their children to Count Hill, have found whatever way possible of sending their children to Saddleworth. And I don't blame them. Having seen the educational underachievement of this school, where education is a secondary priority towards this utopian integration model that they want to impose on other people's children, not theirs. What's that left behind is where previously in Count Hill, aspiring working class white children would be alongside more aspiring, I don't use the word underachieving working class white children who did not value education in the same way, or whose families did not value education in the same way. And you aspire from your peers, where you look across and you see peers who look like you, who are from backgrounds like yours, who are doing well, and that's where aspiration comes from. Or one of the places where aspiration comes from. And what's happened at Waterhead Academy is that tier of aspirational, were possible, not always, because some parents haven't been able to get their children to go to Saddleworth or somewhere else, were possible, that aspirational tier of white working class kids has been taken out. It's fine, Sally. I don't need you or anyone else to agree. I'm comfortable with the challenge, and I'm also comfortable challenging. I think, it's what I always say. I don't take any of it personally. And I hope none of you do. So the aspirational white working class, there's been a drain. They've gone to Saddleworth. So those white working class kids there, it becomes it's a spiral, isn't it? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a spiral. It's a negative spiral. And that's what they are caught up in with the white demographic of students. The declining white demographic of students, by the way. As for the Pakistani children there, who go to Waterhead Academy, as it stands, the majority of them had no choice, who come from the catchment area. That's the school and that's where they go. For families who can, go and have a look at the demographics of Hume, the private school, the fee-paying school. Those who can have opted out there. But what's going to happen is that the council now are being forced to build on the old Breeze Hill site. Remember, when they built when they built Waterhead Academy and joined Count Hill and Breeze Hill, some idiot at the council added up the numbers and reckoned that the schools they were building would have enough places for the for the age, the trajectory of children coming through. Of course, they miscalculated, and they're now having to build several schools. One, the building in the town centre, the one Bluecoat will run, where the old Sainsbury's used to be. And the other one, the building in in the old Breezel site. That school will become a Muslim majority school in the same style of Oldham Academy North. And to all extents and purposes, it will become a Muslim school. Same as Oldham Academy North is. And what Waterhead will be left with is the dregs from... It's the wrong word. My apologies. That's the wrong word. Waterhead will be left with the challenging, underachieving, those who need additional support, children and families from both council and the old Breezel, the Pakistani community, the white working class community. And it will become the equivalent of a sink estate, a sink educational establishment. Is the Breezel one up and running? Sorry, Dennis. Well, there you go. So that's my take on Waterhead. And the banning of the skirts. If you speak to any Muslim you know, speak to any Muslim you know, they would not care whether they were sending their children to a school where the girls wore skirts. In fact, and I'll use the blue coat analogy, outstanding school, the biggest complaints from Muslim parents that I know is that they can't get their children into blue coat. Do you think they care whether the children know wear skirts or not? No. So that's what's gone on here. Just take the time to understand it. Please take the time to understand it. And by the way, I'd signed a petition because I believe girls should be girls and they should have the choice to wear skirts. And if the skirts are too short or whatever, I mean, you've seen the Ofsted inspection make specific reference to sexual risk and the failure of the school to teach that. And yet what the school has done is transferred their failing and projected it onto the children, onto 12-year-old girls and 13-year-old girls and 14-year-old girls. That's wrong. However you cut it up, that's wrong. This is a mess. The segregation will only get worse as a consequence of what's happened at Waterhead. Because what you'll find is that the aspirational parents, or parents who actually care about their children's education, white or black, won't want to send their children to that school. And why should they? And those who are left in that space, are more than likely to, sadly, be of a demographic where they're happy to call each other racist names and homophobic names. The teachers the decent teachers have gone, left. It's in a mess. It's in a complete, utter mess. And this executive head teacher writing some nonsense about journey to good without even acknowledging or apologizing for the state the school's in is unacceptable. The silence, and I know I've mocked her and I've mocked the politicians, but the silence from the politicians, in all seriousness, the silence from the politicians is completely unacceptable. There is no action plan. There is no strategy. And whatever you try to do here, without doing it in partnership with the families and the students, will fail. I spent my life, Dave, on free school meals. I did most of my friends. Now, what your government did, Dave, the Conservative government brought in something called a pupil premium with the Lib Dem partners, the coalition government. So schools get an additional amount of money for every child on free school meals via the pupil premium. They get a significant amount of money. This isn't about free school meals. This isn't even about money. This is just about a set of leaders and an academy trust who should not be in charge of that school. Like the previous academy trust and the one before that. This is a failing school because those in charge have failed the pupils. Come on, mate. Teachers who don't know their subjects. Teaching 15-year-old kids in year 11. 16-year-old kids in year 11. 15, 16-year-old kids are being retaught what they learnt in primary school. Waterhead is destined to be a sink school. And of course, the other thing you'll find with Waterhead School, and I'm just as an observer, I'm looking and thinking this is what's going to happen, is that whoever the new immigrant communities are, or the more recent ones, it'll become that. I'm sure it's got a significant Roma community there. There'll be fights in the playing fields if there aren't already. It's a complete disaster. The school is a complete disaster. And the skirts are the least. The skirts and socks are the least of their problems. And if you ask me, the skirts and socks aren't even problems. So please, people, go away, reflect. If you live in the area, speak to your counsellors. Ask them. Write to them. Email them. Ask them why they are silent about the failure of 1,400 children. Waterhead Academy includes students from Saddleworth Western Lees. It includes students from St. James's. It includes students from Waterhead, clearly, and Alexander Wards. Please, use your brain. Don't fall into the racist trap, and don't let them distract you. And if you want, and if you can, you feel girls should have the right to wear skirts, and I believe girls in a liberal Western democracy should have the right to wear skirts. I mean, the contradiction is that they want to prepare these girls, these students, for an adult life. Well, in the adult world I occupy, women wear skirts when they want, if they want. I hope you found value in this transmission. I'm in court tomorrow. I am at 9:30 in, I think, court 14, I think it is. If you're coming, please, I value you. Please don't get there for 9:30. Get in there anytime after 10, you'll be fine. And let's see what tomorrow brings, and I will update people as to the outcome of the court, hopefully tomorrow evening, with what I can legally and lawfully share with you. If you find value in these transmissions, please like, please share. You will not get this level of analysis anywhere else in this town. A very good evening.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.